something that I talk about a lot, that I talk about very frustratingly because I'm very passive in it and I'm like low-key a part of it, but I don't really have like a solution or anything to do about it. It's how intertwined politics and the media are, because it creates this environment where political officials and policy is dictated by what gets the most engagement, the most clicks online, the most applause. And very often that is a vocal minority that does not accurately represent the feelings of the voter base, or sometimes is based off of complete mis and disinformation, and so is reflective of a complete alternate reality. This has existed in politics for a while, right? We saw it with Reagan. JFK was like a celebrity star. Arnold Schwarzenegger ran for governor. This is not a new phenomenon, but Donald Trump has just taken it to an entirely different level that has completely jaded us, myself included, to how ineffective and tone deaf it is as the president, the leader of the free world. This guy is just shitposting on his own version of Twitter all day and lying constantly. On New Year's Day, the country suffered from a terrorist attack, suspected terrorist attack. The details are still unfolding, where a man drove through a crowd of people in Louisiana, killing 15 people. And the man had an ISIS flag in his truck. The man was born in the US, served in the army, was deployed in Afghanistan. These are things that we know. These are facts that we know. It took a minute to get these facts, right? Because as news stories unfold, they unfold, right? We don't get all the information in one bit. And in that little gap of time, what was our president-elect doing? What was the leader of our country doing? Was he giving hope to the American people about staying strong and being together in this time of political tension? Was he giving a speech on unity? Was he consoling or giving thoughts and prayers to the victims, to American citizens that died? No. What he was doing was getting on his little fake version of Twitter, his truth.com, filled with lies, and posted, "When I said that the criminals coming in are far worse than the criminals we have in our country." That statement was constantly refuted by Democrats and the fake news media, but it turned out to be true. The crime rate in our country is at a level that nobody has ever seen before. Both of those statements are just complete lies. First of all, the criminals coming into our country, this guy was born in the US, that's a lie. Second of all, the crime rates are low. Crime rates are on a decline, okay? Our hearts are with all the victims and their loved ones, including the brave officers of the New Orleans Police Department. Notice how that was an afterthought? He gives condolences to the victims after attacking Democrats and the fake news media. That's his priority. First, he has to get it out there that Democrats and the fake news media go after Democrats and the fake news media, the radical liberal left lunatics, okay? Oh, and also, by the way, like, RIP to these victims. The Trump administration will fully support the city of New Orleans as they investigate and recover from this act of pure evil. Right. So, as I said, this guy was born in the US. And Donald Trump posting this, followed up by Donald Trump Jr. posting that Biden's parting gift to America was migrant terrorist. Once again, this guy was born in the US. Followed by Speaker Mike Johnson. At the time of filming this, he was just reelected. Fortunately, that we don't have a President Chuck Grassley. Unfortunate that spineless Republicans held out for voting for him or voted for another person just to what? Like bend both knees and say yes when Mike Johnson takes him to the back? Like.
And one of the questions that I continued to hear was this guy on the radar of our Department of Justice, FBI? I'm not asking you to reveal any classified information, but did they know this guy?
I don't know the answer to that yet, Lawrence. It's certainly the question that we've been asking from the very beginning. It's an obvious one. And let me say something else that's obvious. And I don't know if enough attention is being paid to this, but we all know that for the last 4 years.
Notice how they just have to put his face right big all up in there. Like, they have to have the brown guy's face just big and bold.
years. The Biden administration has been completely derelict in its duty. The congressional Republicans, we here in the House and the Senate, have repeatedly asked the DHS under the Biden administration about the correlation, the obvious concern about terrorism and the wide open border. The idea that dangerous people were coming here in droves and
This guy was born in the U.S. Like, I can't. What?
setting up potentially terrorist cells around the country. We have been ringing the alarms. We impeached DHS Secretary Mayorkas in the House over that very issue and others related to it. So this is a big concern. They told us, Lawrence, for 4 years that the number one threat was so-called racially motivated extremism. It was nonsense. This is the thing that we were all concerned about. This is why we raised the alarms. This is why we passed H.R. 2, the strongest border security act ever passed by Congress. And Chuck Schumer and the Democrats in the Senate would not put that through and make it into law. The Biden administration has a lot to account for here, and we see now, in glaring view of everybody, that this dereliction of duty has real consequences. It's a concern, and it will be an ongoing concern for some time.
Notice just his blatant reliance and abuse of logical fallacies. They trust in this. It's so obvious that this happened. It's clearly going on. This is so obvious. To who? To literally who? This guy was born in the US. Notice how many just blatant sweeping generalizations Trump's little Johnson is making in this state. Like, it's so obvious that this is the result of Biden's border problem. It's glaringly clear. It's coming to fruit. It's so clear. Everyone can see it. Who says who? This guy was born in the U.S. What are you seeing? What are we missing? How is this so clearly tied to Biden's immigration policy? If anything, this guy had an ISIS flag in the back of his truck. I would tie him probably more closely to ISIS, who, by the way, Trump said that he beat. Just
president for almost 2 years, and we've really stepped it up, and we have won against ISIS. We've beaten them, and we've beaten them badly. We've taken back the land, and now it's time for our troops.
Right, so I'm failing to see how this is so blatantly, so clearly associated with Biden. It's funny that he's able to get away with this, but it's not funny because this is the president. It's quite sad, and I have to laugh about it or else I'll cry a lot. But this is the next 4 years. Do we all remember the COVID briefings and just how on edge we were throughout all of them, just constantly having to fact check every single claim that he was making? All of the ivermectin, people are still on the ivermectin. It's just a crazy reality that this guy is the president. It's so dangerous. Because if this is any indication for how the next 4 years are going to go, Donald Trump will be allowed to shitpost whatever the fuck he wants on Truth Social, right? He'll be able to get away with saying anything. What did he post after this tweet? By the way, what did he post after posting this stupid fucking tweet, right? He posts Happy New Year, this Happy New Year graphic, this video of him and Melania, some article about visas, some article about how he's good with crypto, him with the mayor, whatever, him hyping up his tariffs for some reason, the same video with him and Melania, some diatribe about how, once again, the terrorist is involved with Biden's border policy somehow, some way. Then Trump was right about everything. Because remember, ladies, if you have a guy in your life that just constantly says that he's right about everything and is constantly talking about how strong he is and how honest he is and how he would never hurt any woman, how could you even think that? Always believe him. Just always listen to him. He's telling the truth. He has your best interests at heart. That's all I could. Please live your life like that. This beautiful. Beautiful painting. It's probably AI generated too. This commercial for him.
Trump has left the building. Over.
We can now project the winner of the presidential race. Donald Trump wins the
Biden, former President Donald Trump.
7 years.
The more certain you should be.
Then another ad for him. Then more attacking Biden. So in the first tweet, we got one little afterthought of condolences for the victims. In all of the subsequent tweets, it is fuck Biden. Biden's immigration policy is the cause of this. Blame Biden. This is all Biden's fault. But Democrats are the ones focused on opposing their political enemies. And Democrats are the ones that are focusing on Donald Trump. And I think Donald Trump even says some in one of these that they're all focused on him when he's the only one focused on himself. Who else is tweeting out 2.5 minute fucking commercials for him? Is this a video of him dancing? The nation just suffered a terrorist attack.